Hey guys, how you doing? Want to go ahead and dive into this build setup before we get into this gameplay right quick? That way you guys can get my take on these items and why I'm using certain things. Now, for instance, we're running Mystic Fire on Sylveon. We're coming through the jungle today. At the end of the day, we have Muscle Band and Weakness Policy. Buddy Barrier is a keeper no matter what you're doing on generally pretty much every Pokemon when it comes to these 5 stacks team play. When you actually want to climb, Buddy Barrier is a solid option. Now, when it comes to Mystic Fire Sylveon, okay, Mystic Fire, we're running Muscle Band. Why are we using Muscle Band over like Wise Glasses, Choice Specs, or what have you? In this situation, those items would be key on like something like Hyper Voice, for instance. You know, they help you in that situation. But you also got to keep in mind that Sylveon's special attack isn't through the roof, isn't super duper high. So when you're running Mystic Fire, you're better off running Muscle Band because during these team fights, you want to be doing what? You want to be jumping in with Mystic Fire, weaving in your auto attacks. If you're not auto attacking with Mystic Fire, you're losing out half your damage. Muscle Band allows you to get those auto attacks off more frequently because it gives you attack speed and extra damage and all that sort of goodness. The second item here, though, I'm running Weakness Policy. This is my personal preference. I love this item on Sylveon. You can also change this out for Focus Band, give yourself a little bit more sustain inside of these team fights. But that's kind of what your Unite move is also for, because our Unite move is not there to do a ridiculous amount of damage. It's more so defensive than offensive. It gives you that Buddy Barrier, that quick Buddy Barrier, gives you that movement speed once you hit the ground. But then when you're running around Mystic Fire at that point, what are you doing? You're auto attacking, right? You get more damage from your auto attacks than you would if you weren't auto attacking with Mystic Fire. Now you can change, like I said, you can change this out for Focus Band. Focus Band gives you that sustain in case you take too much damage inside the team fight or whatever. But like I said, give Weakness Policy a try. Either way, this is just my build setup, but I've been running for Sylveon with Mystic Fire. Hyper Voice would change a little bit, but either way, let's dive into this game. Don't forget to smash that like button, join that Discord, tell me I suck. We're almost at 2K subs. See you guys in a minute. Let's go. Hey guys, how you doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all us around the world. Welcome back to another Pokemon Unite video featuring Sylveon coming through the jungle in a Master Rank game. Having fun with this Pokemon still. Although we don't see her that often anymore. I think her power has kind of fallen off quite a bit since she's gotten nerfed. You know, time and time again, especially with Hyper Voice. You know, at the end of the day, though, we still have Mystic Fire, right? We still have Mystic Fire. It's still solid. I haven't done a lot of playtesting with Sylveon in lane with Hoopa yet, but I think that's actually going to be the next thing I probably start working on, because with Hoopa, giving myself Trick, allowing myself to be in melee range at all times, I can get those auto attacks off and get Shadow Balls more so. I think it'll be pretty good, especially with the way Mystic Fire works. It lowers the enemy's special attack as you're dealing damage with Mystic Fire. But Mystic Fire does a little bit of less damage depending on how many flames hit that target, you know, it accumulatively over time, you know what I mean? But at the same time, being on top of that target all the time with Trick, and getting lifesteal back when you deal a little bit of damage and stuff, let alone Sylveon has a flat passive ability that allows her to get lifesteal on her ability when she does damage anyway, kind of like Gengar does now. I think she's pretty good at the end of the day, but she needs other Pokemon to support her necessarily, because she has that Unite move that's kind of defensive. You know what I mean? It's not like I have my Unite, I do a lot of damage. You kind of use that more so in defense than you do on the offense. 9 out of 10. I mean, you get it level 8. That's early Buddy Barriers to everybody in your team, you know, during the team fight situations and stuff. It doesn't do a lot of DPS, but it does some. You know what I mean? But still, she's fallen from her pedestal, in which she once was the very top when she first came out. But then they gave her that big old nerf to Hyper Voice, and we pretty much don't see her that much anymore. Especially when all of these other Pokemon kind of get into like the prominent, you know, they become prominent. They have very strong kits and stuff, and Sylveon is just sitting there, doesn't get buffed or nerfed in a long time. She kind of just sits there. She falls kind of out of her spot, if you will. Now, there's a lot of teams I think that she can work with quite well nowadays, but we just don't see her that much. We see her more so in solo queue than it is in like a group setting, you know, 5v5. Watch this Ninetales play, by the way. She zones out the Greninja so much choke and I can just get away. That doesn't happen all the time in solo queue games. You know what I mean? Like, I would generally think Ninetales would have panicked and just like didn't, you know, press our abilities and stuff. If Greninja would have came through with Surf, kill us all. But no, she was paying attention. I can appreciate it. You know, being this in a solo queue game, everyone's down here. They rotated for Dreadnought. That doesn't happen all the time. You get Ninetales, you have Greedent and Hoopa over there zoning. They do enough damage to the Dreadnought. That way I can go ahead and take it out, and then they get caught up in the team fight. We get this for free, essentially. Cinderace just jumps down here at Blaze Kick. Poor guy. But, you know what I mean? Like I said, we're still playing Sylveon. We're running X speed, by the way, to counteract, what do you call it, Slow Smoke. X speed will allow you to run through Slow Smoke, allows you to keep up with your targets with Mystic Fire, always dealing damage no matter what. And on top of that, considering you're in the jungle, you have red buff. So that means they can't necessarily get away from you. Your issue is how much damage you can do before they actually kill you. You know? Whether or not I'm running Weakness Policy instead of Focus Band this time around, because like I said, I've always been an advocate for Weakness Policy. I think that item is a little bit slept on. A lot of people don't realize how much damage it does. It only works with Sylveon when you're running Mystic Fire. Okay, keep that in mind, because when you're playing Hyper Voice, you're not necessarily like weaving in your auto attacks every now and then. But with Mystic Fire, I tried the score here. I was hitting the button, it just would not go through. But in any case, with Mystic Fire, you're weaving in your auto attacks, more so opposed of Hyper Voice. So things like Weakness Policy, things like Muscle Band, they help tremendously when it comes to Mystic Fire. But at the same time, if you're not weaving it in your autos, if you're not getting used to weaving in autos with Mystic Fire, you're not doing as much damage as you could be inside these team fights. In other words, if you're just jumping into a team fight and just like running around as your Mystic Fire, you know, procs every now and then, you're doing less and less and less every team fight. Because if you're not weaving in your autos, you're missing in a giant part of your damage by being up there, being super mobile. Cinderace gets caught out here again, which is great for me because we already put him very, very far behind from the top side. We get Hoopa too. This Machamp's on fire, by the way. Very, very solid Machamp player. And thankfully we had a Greedent invade this game. I didn't think Serena was going to do that much damage, to be honest. She sustained more than I thought she was going to sustain. Triple Axel. Hey, eats the run. But anyway, we had a Greedent invade the enemy jungle. We put her behind too in the early game, which I felt bad for because I also kind of played a role in that in the early game as well. But hey, that's what she gets, to be fair. Now, again, look where my squad is. They're all the way down in bot side again, getting set up for this Rotom, or Dreadnought. Now, I don't have to run down there right away because I still have Hoopa's Unite move, so I can get my jungle buff, take his portal, come down here, and we should be able to contest this, if not take it. I do pop my Unite just in case. I don't know if Greninja has his stuff up or not. I know Serena does not have Unite, so we should be golden here just to take this objective. And again, Sylveon's Unite move is more so defensive, supportive, than it is big burst damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage, it just gives you that added sustain because you're giving yourself buddy barrier or your teammates or whatever. So keep that in mind. And it doesn't take that long to charge back up. As long as you're in the jungle, you're doing your little jungle rotations, you're going back and forth between top and bot lane, you should be good. Should be fine. I do see Cinderace up here out of this bush. Machamp and I go immediately for him, just in case he decides to try to snipe the Rotom. And I get 3 of my teammates already working on it while Machamp and I are trying to do dividends in the corner down here. He gets killed. It is what it is. I'm going to go next because that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Aegislash is zipping around the map because Aegislash players. Dude, Aegislash is so much fun. You know, low-key, I think he's just pretty much underrated still. But hey, we also have a Ninetales. We don't see Ninetales that often. We don't see Sylveon that often. This game is pretty nuts right now. We have a nice, decent team comp. I don't have that much of a front line other than Machamp and the occasional Greedent. But being Sylveon, allowing myself to take Draining Kiss instead of her other ability gives myself more sustain. Now, mind you, I normally take Focus Band, right? But I'm taking Weakness Policy to give myself a little bit of flat health and damage because when they hit me, basically, with their abilities, my damage ramps up. And I want to be on top of you, dealing damage at Mystic Fire and my auto attacks at all times in every single one of these team fights. Now, again, this is the solo queue game. For those of you who don't realize how good Sylveon can be in a team situation, as long as you guys have a nice team composition with Sylveon included, this Pokemon is still very, very strong. Keep in mind what I'm doing right here. Zapdos is coming up. I'm trying to get Hoopa the Force's Unite move because I know how much of a problem Hoopa can be at this team fight at Zapdos. And he does. He pops his Unite move. I got Cinderace and Hoopa over here trying to take me down. I did my job. I basically was trying to pull away people from Zapdos. That way we are able to secure this, 100%. And I did. Like I said, this is solo queue, so this happens more often than you would think it would. People always look for those fights that don't matter half the time. So I'm sitting here trying to zone Hoopa off, and then I end up catching Cinderace in the same situation. I mean, we pay a lot of value for that. We get the Zapdos, we get the scores, we have Greedent down the bot side too. And which he still has his Unite move, which is pretty great. I think we did a really good job here during this game, even though we had a Ninetales who actually played very solid, so hats off to him or her as well. But either way, man, this has been Pawseplays. Hopefully you guys can smash that like button. Hopefully you guys are still looking forward to playing Sylveon. If you're going to give up on her, don't. Keep picking her up. I'm trying to tell you, I think right now, people kind of sleep on a lot of these Pokemon. They're looking to play the OP, the best of the patch. I think that's what a lot of people are still doing. But I think people forget about other Pokemon and synergies that you can have with Sylveon. And for instance, Hoopa with Trick. I think that's going to be very strong when people start picking that up and realize how good she can be in the bot lane, by the way. So it can be a Hoopa, Sylveon, and like a Wigglytuff or a healer down there, Eldegoss. I think it's going to be very solid when people start realizing how good that can be. But hey, I will catch you guys in the very next video. Hopefully you guys smash that like button, join the Discord, come tell me I suck. I'll see y'all later. Stay safe out there. I'm gonna head out.